Attitude is everything. That's what they say, right? Is it true? Well, on this episode, I'm talking about the importance of attitude. I'm going to challenge you to look at your own attitude, and I'm going to give you some ideas on how you can make sure your attitude stays where it needs to be. Welcome to Cutting Edge Faith. I'm Ryan Howard. This podcast is here to help equip your faith for everyday life and to help you navigate the cultural chaos of today. Now, I'm talking about attitude in this episode, and there's so much to say about it, but I really want to simplify it for us here today. Now, attitude is so important because really it is a filter for absolutely everything that we experience, everything that we see, everything that we hear, everything that happens to us and through us can be affected by our attitude. And I'm sure you can come up with some examples yourself in your own life about how your attitude helped things go better or helped them go worse, just based on attitude alone. And so it is so critical. And I want to highlight today a couple of things from this book that I think you need to get. It's called 21 Days to a Spirit-Led Life. And it's a book I wrote. This is actually originally an ebook. And I printed these for a conference that I spoke at last weekend, and we almost sold out. But you can get this for free, and I'm going to tell you how to get that here in just a little bit. But it's 21 Days to a Spirit-Led Life, and this particular day, we're talking about attitude. And it's just one little page. It's easy to go through, but it's going to be high impact. Now, I want to give a quick verse, Ephesians 4:23. It says, "Be renewed in the attitude of your mind." Be renewed in the attitude of your mind. That means the attitude of your mind. It's so simple. Other versions say in the spirit of your mind or in renew your thoughts and attitudes. This is so critical for us because literally, like I said, it is a filter for absolutely everything that we experience. So I want to just ask right now, is this convicting for you? How is your attitude? If you think about different situations you find yourself in, either with your family, maybe with your spouse or kids or coworkers or neighbors or other family members, how is it? Are there things, what happens when you get frustrated? What happens when things don't go the way you want them to go? What happens when just somebody says something that you don't like? Or just your general disposition. When you're in a room, are you bringing the atmosphere to a more positive state or a more negative state? Now, it's important to just think about that. Just recognize that and get a baseline where you're at. Now, there are different times in my own life where I have been much more positive and other situations where I could probably do some adjusting. And so this is a convicting message for me as well. I've had people in my work, when I worked in manufacturing, say, how can you be so positive all the time? You just always give people the benefit of the doubt, and you just have a positive outlook on things, and it's always just this hope-filled outlook. And, this was an environment that was a very intense, kind of negatively charged environment in general. So I was very aware of my own attitude and how it was being affected. And so I was always thinking about it. I would have big dramatic interactions with people, 4 or 5 times a week. And it was really difficult, but I was very aware of my attitude. Now, in other situations in my career where maybe it's a little bit of more of a mediocre atmosphere, just more generally, I may not be as aware. And I've caught myself slipping, just saying, okay, it's the same people, it's the same problem, it's the same decision. Last year they made the same decision. This year it's the same thing. Nothing's changing. And you could just sort of become a little jaded if you're not careful. Or maybe there's all the woke stuff that the company's doing now and you just can't take it anymore. And so, but we need to be careful because, I've certainly caught myself there, and that's great. If you feel convicted by this, hey, praise God, because your conscience is working like it should be. If it is an issue, is there anything you can really highlight? I want to invite you to really think about this. Just take a moment and actually think, what is it that's causing this attitude issue? Is it actually something somebody says? Is it something that it reminds you of? Is it something you haven't let go of? Is it something that happened? What is it? Because a lot of times when we don't name something, when we don't actually point out what it is, it just stays in the dark. It's like a person walking around in a dark room, tripping over. They don't know what they are tripping over. They can't see it. Turn on the lights. Let's see what it is and deal with it. You see, the enemy, what he does is he wants to keep us in confusion and he wants to keep it in the dark. But if we can bring it into the light, it loses its power. Whatever it is, highlight it. Actually sit and think about it. Is it an individual? Is it something that happened? You just got to dig a little and see what it is and let God unravel it. You don't necessarily have to go to Google to help figure this out. Just ask the Lord himself and let this be something that you partner with him to deal with. And this, again, I mean, I'm telling you, I can think through a couple of times for me where there were some adjustments needed. It's like a one-step program. It's kind of like just wake up. When you wake up, you're awake. And so now you can just see it differently and you can be aware of it. What do we do though? I told you, so if you thought about it, how can we stay there? So say you've identified that now, but how do you stay there? Well, it's really simple. It's about intimacy with the Lord. He knows exactly what we need, and he knows how to help make that change. Really, we want to be used by the Lord, and we just need to be close with him all the time. We want to be spirit-led. That's why this book is called 21 Days to a Spirit-Led Life. And our attitude is a key part of that. We keep our attitude in the right place I like to think about it in terms of managing my state. So I got to be in a good state. So how am I going to start the day? Well, I'm going to go meet with the Lord and make sure that I'm amped up and ready to go for the day. And if I don't do that, well, the day doesn't start off with a rocket like I normally like to have it. So I got to really have time. And if I don't get to do it first thing in the morning, I got to do it as soon as I can. Just get with the Lord and have a time in the Word, or a time of listening to a teaching, or a time worshiping or journaling, or whatever it might be, studying a little deeper. Whatever it is, you got to fill your cup and manage your state and keep your attitude where it needs to be. Now, I told you I was going to tell you how to get this book. You can go to ryanshoward.com/free download. ryanshoward.com/free download. And you can get your free copy of this right now, right to your inbox. How about you? Let me know in the comments if you're on YouTube. What is it for you? How are you going to make sure that you have a good attitude, or keep that positive attitude, that hope-filled attitude that God can work through every day? Hey, if this blessed you, make sure to like and subscribe and check out more videos. God bless, and we'll see you in the next episode.